lands beneath the blue and white we stand. We shout, God bless, keep up now, our native land. North Melbourne, North Melbourne, North Melbourne. Out we come to play. Just recreation sake to pass the time away. Lots of fun, heaps of fun, enjoy yourself today. North Melbourne boys are hard to beat when they come out to play.
Good evening and welcome to the Stern Look. I'm Nate Seven, your temporary host while Kangaroo Forever is on other duties. Tonight I'm joined by Quiverer and Jay-Z. Welcome, guys.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, guys.
Tonight's probably not going to be as long as usual just because it's been an absolute fucking shit week. So I'm just going to dive straight in. If you want to get some positives and negatives from you guys, hopefully North Melbourne based, but if not, just league based, and go for your life.
Mine for this week, I'll go with the pretty obvious one of Boomer Harvey record equaling game. It's been a long build-up. We've had his 400th last year, and there was some questions over whether he was going to get another contract, but he obviously has, and he's gone through the season unscathed and is finally going to equal the Tucker record, so big thumbs up for that. My other thumbs up is but no more Thursday night footy, because it's been fucking shit over the last couple of weeks. I hate Thursday night. It's just ridiculous, money grabbing. No one likes it. Apart from people on the main board, apparently. But anyway, thumbs down. There's going to be lots of them, but my two, umpire Schmidt with the silent M. Every week we get him, I just go, God help us. That freaking deliberate rush behind that no one can understand. But anyway, the other thumbs down is more a general one, and it's just beginning to feel like the season that almost was, from 9-1 or 10-1, whatever we were, to where we are now. It seems like everything's sort of falling apart a little bit.
I agree, and you've saw pretty much everything I was about to say, so thanks for that. That's good. Yeah, I'm pretty much drained out, to be honest. I've got nothing good to say after the last 7 weeks, and everything I say is I've said them across the board in terms of stuff I dislike. So Nate, have you got anything to say?
Yeah, so good news for North Melbourne fans and just the wider community. Jack Watts has signed at Melbourne, so he won't be coming to North Melbourne. That's great news. Another great thing was Brad Scott's press conference yesterday at training took it to a whole new level. It was just douchebaggery and snake oil salesman like you wouldn't believe. Anyway, that was great. What else have we got? Injury list. I'm really clutching at straws here. Injury list seems to be getting shorter, but fucking who knows? What else?
Is Wade officially back on it?
I don't know. He's on and off
for all of 5 minutes.
Well, then again, Hansen wasn't on it, and no one knew what was going on with him for about 2 weeks, and you couldn't get anything out of the club. And there's been a few issues of that through the year, but I know one of you guys will touch on that later, but that's been shithouse, really. Seriously, this season, we've got to be at our worst. There's no way this can get any worse. Actually, no, I think it could. Hopefully it doesn't. Quiv, you've got nothing else, do you?
No, I don't.
Jay-Z, do you want to jump into the club stuff? I know you said in the pre-show you had something there, so if you want to just fire into that, that'd be great.
Sure thing. So for club discussion this week, given it's Boomer Harvey's record equaling game, I thought I'd take a bit of a snapshot of Boomer and the long 20 years that he's been in the game. So a couple of quick facts for everybody. When Harvey made his debut for North in 1996, Sean Attlee was 3 years old. Other fun things, Boomer's played 64 games before Eddie had even existed. When he debuted, Waverley Park, Visy Park and Victoria Park were all still active AFL grounds. And possibly one of my favourite ones, Microsoft Windows 95 was released just before Harvey's first game. That tells you how fucking old he is and how long he's been playing in this game. It's a little ridiculous. 20 long years. Two other fun facts from 1996, just to make you all feel really, really old. DVDs were launched for the first time in Japan. The website eBay started up. Yep. Internet Explorer 3 was released. Yep, we're going that far back. Popular films in 1996. Twister. The first...
Oh, that was my favourite.
Yeah, Twister's pretty awesome. I have to say, it stood the test of time. The first Mission Impossible movie. Jerry Maguire. Tom Cruise was obviously very busy in 1996. The original Independence Day, which ironically has a sequel coming out this year.
Day that it was released.
Sorry?
50 years to the day that it was released with, I think, half of the original cast.
Yep.
That's what I'm told.
And popular musicians/songs in 1996. The Macarena was number one. Yep. That's pretty scary. Celine Dion's Because You Loved Me, which is possibly equally or more scary. OMC's How Bizarre, and Spice Girls' first number one, Wannabe. That was your top 4 songs in Australia when Boomer debuted. That's a little scary.
Do you want to sing any of those to us?
Absolutely not. I won't destroy the podcast with that. And one final one, which is equal parts making you feel old and depressed, is that when Boomer debuted for North Melbourne, the median house price in Melbourne was $131,000.
Yes.
That's your fun fact session on how
That
long.
wasn't
the
fun.
Harvey's been
That
playing
last one.
AFL.
That was depressing. That last one. Get stuffed.
Sorry.
Are you done?
I'm done. That's my fun facts or not fun facts session.
That is bloody ridiculous. Anyway, how do I move on from that? Okay, I know you guys said we'll just touch on it briefly. VFL. So the guys, apart from North Melbourne having a pretty much a dismal weekend, as did Werribee, losing 55 to 166 to Geelong down at the Cattery, down at Simmons Stadium. Some of the best, the listed best, were, I would have said the opposite, but some are okay. I don't want to really touch on that because that was just an awful game to go and watch. This week, the guys, what are they? They're 12th, and they're up against our old affiliate, North Ballarat, who are equal last with Frankston. They're playing at Werribee on Saturday at 2 p.m. That is not live. That's not on Channel 7. It's probably not going to be on anything, as per bloody usual, unless someone comes to the table and there's a radio broadcast, like K-Rock or one of the other radio stations down there, but otherwise I can't think of who is there. Durds and Nielsen are listed to play in the Development League with some possible changes, and with some of our players like Clark and a few others who are listed to play for North, also listed in Werribee, I would suggest they're not going to be playing, or hopefully not played in Development League. I can currently see about 9 or 10 right now who are listed in the Werribee seniors, and alongside them will be some Werribee debutants, which is pretty scary considering how bad they've been this year. Both teams have had some massive injuries, and that's the reason for that. And I did bump into John Lamont yesterday at training, but he wasn't really too willing to talk. He was too busy fucking brown-nosing at North Melbourne, doing whatever he does there. That's all I've got for that. Guys, if you just bear with me while I jump into, where is it? Q and A. Fucking when it decides to come up. Cool. Jay-Z or Quiv, one of you can take this first one from Gasso. I'm pretty sure you know what it is. Returning from the injury list, in regards to match fitness and missing many weeks, will this be an issue come or if we make finals? Obviously, this is probably more directed at, or to do with Ben Jacobs, Sam Wright, Higgins, and maybe one other. But how do you see this, as an issue or non-issue?
First of all, I think the edit of if we make finals is a little bit of an overreaction. We're definitely making the finals. we're in a bit of shit, but we're not that deep. In terms of the players that we've got to come back, the way I see it is the ones that we do have to come back, particularly Higgins and Wright, are pretty classy players, unless you ask Arjun, and don't tend to need a whole lot to sort of get back into match fitness or form or whatever. So I would trust a 70-80% Higgins over, a debutant or an Ahas or someone like that. So personally, I think we're much better off with those sort of players back in, be that round 21, round 22, round 23, whatever it is that we end up getting those players back. The main interesting one, I think, is Jacobs. He's probably the only, now that Wells is back, he's probably the only midfielder that we're sort of sweating on. But he has a bit of a unique role in that, he's not in about, getting touches and all of that. So the fact that he might not have touched a football in a competitive sense for a few weeks isn't really an issue. So long as he can run, I think he can tag, and we'll be much, much better for it when he comes back in.
Cool. Quivalicious, you got anything to add to that?
No, I agree with everything he's just said, especially Jacobs. If he can run, that's all he's got to do, so that's fine. None of the other players need to really run the whole length of the field, the whole game. 70-80% fitness should be plenty for the professional athletes, to step right back into the game and make an impact. So I think we'll be pretty set come finals time when we make it, not if.
My own thoughts and just backing up what you guys said. I also agree with what you were saying. With a lot of those players, don't need to worry about it and don't need those times because they're not in those. Apart from maybe Ben Jacobs, but the others, I wouldn't suggest really need the VFL time at all, considering the amount of running they're doing at the moment. If they were maybe a Taylor Garner or a Jed Anderson, or maybe someone else, then you'd suggest, they need a bit of time, considering the injuries they've had. But with the other guys, seasoned athletes, been there, have done multiple pre-seasons. They've got the Ks in the legs, they've got the fitness base. I think it's game on. You've just got to bring them in. And if North were to finish in the bottom half of the eight, well, it's a risk worth taking. It really is.
Basically, we've got to roll the dice. Like, we're not aiming to do what we've done in the last couple of years of finishing the bottom half of the eight, win a couple of finals and go, yay, we made a prelim. We're here to win the flag. And the only chance we have of doing that is, A, getting all those players back and playing as close to our best 22 as we possibly can, and B, hoping that bye after round 23 sort of skews the numbers, if you like, and makes the impossible from the last 20 years of winning the flag from outside the top four possible. That's pretty much our only chance. So we've just got to roll the dice.
Well, the other thing is with that, I'm just thinking about it, is from memory, two of those players that I've just named, or we named, they were on 6 to 7 weeks away from returning, Jacobs and Higgins, from memory. So that puts it into the final home and away round, obviously with then the week off in between. Does that still make a difference, or is it just throw into the fire week one of the finals and off you go?
With a player like Jacobs or Higgins, I think they're important enough to our side and to our structure. I would play them as soon as they come back. I don't care whether it's round 23, the first week of the finals, or the grand final. I would bring them in.
No worries then.
I mean, we're playing guys like Goldstein and Cunnington, who are arguably 50% fit at best. If we can get guys like Higgins, Jacobs, etc. to 70-80%, I mean, the reality is, and we all talk about, match fitness and coming back from injury and all of that. By round 23, 70% of the AFL is carrying some sort of niggle. Everyone's sore at the end of the year. You just have to do the best you can with the players you've got available.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because one of the questions was raised by the media yesterday, probably Mark Stevens to Brad Scott yesterday in the training, was worried about that. And his answer was, well, all the clubs have got injured or sore players. And he said it's all about, it's soreness this and soreness that. But I think it goes a little bit deeper and is there are players who are playing genuinely injured. And that seems to be quite evident. But then again, you see one thing and you hear another from the Brains Trust of North Melbourne. So it is. I actually don't think that they're telling the entire truth, but that's another debate for another time, probably. Sorry, Gasso, it's Gasometer. I know he's going to pick me up on that because he loves to really rip into me for that. He's pretty anal about that. Hi, Gasso. Muttley 45. This is, I think, it's for both of you, actually. I would like the panel's impressions of the club's current PR. For example, the captain's latest presser. In my opinion, as captain of the side that has had one win in 7 weeks, it is barely adequate. And along with the way that we are drip-fed fairy tales about injuries, fitness, form, etc., there is huge room for improvement. What's your guys' take on this?
Me personally, I don't watch much of the stuff. I don't watch press conferences unless it's a major loss or a really good win. To see the reaction from one Brad Scott. I don't see anything during the week. One thing I have picked up on throughout this year, and it's mainly because it's being played on SEN constantly, is this 12 win mark, which they've been spouting. Give it a rest, guys. Seriously, don't worry about making 12 wins. Worry about winning the game in front of you. That's my only real beef with the media from the players and coach at the moment.
I think when
that I've seen
things are going well, the club's PR is fantastic. The access they give us, all the updates on the website, etc., is absolutely first class. When things aren't going well, they err on the side of blowing smoke up our ass, which takes frustrated fans to another level of frustration. I kind of get why, in terms of, the fact that Goldstein's injured, we don't really want to advertise that publicly. Not that no one knows, but, but you don't want to say, obviously Goldstein's playing with a knee injury because the next guy to play, Goldstein, is just going to bash into his knee all day. So there's a very fine line between informing the fans and giving too much information away, and the club errs very, very much on the side on giving absolutely nothing away. That's their choice. It's kind of frustrating as a supporter. In terms of injuries, we hear next to nothing. We hear the usual 2 weeks, which ends up being 12, especially if your name's Taylor Garner and your hamstrings are made of paper. In terms of the press conferences, generally I don't mind Brad Scott's. He does tend to, be a little bit cliche, if you like. The occasion when he actually speaks properly, he gets in trouble, so I can't really blame him for saying nothing and being cliche. We had Pagan say, focusing on next week for 10 years. The one that does get me, and the one that Muttley touched on, is the captain. I hate any press conference that Andrew Swallow does. All I ever hear when Andrew Swallow talks on the media is, yeah, nah, maybe, hopefully. That's pretty much all he says. And frankly, as my username might allude to, I'm counting down the days until we have JC as captain and actually a strong media presence. Yes.
But in the meantime, you would need to... Hey, Quiv, do we trade him out? No, okay, we'll have that discussion another
time. Leader.
Twinkle Toes wants to know, if you had your say, and I'm just going to paraphrase, I'm just going to change into my own words what he said. If you could change the 22 or the 25, who would you change in or out, and why? And anything else you want to add?
One of my key moves right off the top of the bat is Zeeble needs to play almost a permanent forward role. As I said in the forum earlier today, I'd back him from anywhere 60 metres out or in. And at the moment, we need somebody who can kick goals, and Jack Zeeble's that man. I'd be playing Majak 100% of the time. Not game time, obviously, but every week Majak is in the team, not in and out, in and out. You can't get any consistency the way he's being played. I read another thing this week which surprisingly I'd never thought of, which was Atley into the forward line. I think that's a really good idea. Put somebody near the sticks their instinct is going to be to kick the goal, or at least move it forward, which Atlee is struggling to do. He's been playing absolutely terribly, and it's really hurting our game. Drew Petrie obviously can't kick a goal, can't take a mark, can't do anything at the moment to save his life. Chuck him down the back line. We know he can take the marks. I guess, for lack of a better term, when there's no pressure on, so chuck him down the back line, let him take the marks. If you can't mark it, just punch the ball away. I'd rather him taking the ball down there than costing his game down forward by throwing kicks out the full or whatnot, or giving the ball straight back to them from kicking a point. As for any other moves, can't really think of any.
I'd probably disagree.
How about you, Jay-Z? You got any in mind?
In terms of Zeeble, he's a fantastic forward, and I absolutely agree with you that within 60 metres is probably our best kick for goal, but he's also at the moment our best midfielder, and it's in a midfield that's struggling. So I think if he plays as an almost permanent forward, we're in a bit of strife, especially with Cunnington barely playing to nowhere near the level that we expect of him. In terms of moves from left field, I don't really have an original idea. My only real thought is the age-old debate of Sean Atlee. And this is sort of leading into a little bit the next question in terms of our one-pace midfield. I think at this stage of the season where we've kind of got nothing to lose, we may as well throw him in the middle and see if he can provide a bit of that dash that we seem to be missing. He's doing F all at half-back. I know that he's spoken publicly and privately at the past about being more comfortable at half-back, but frankly, he's a professional footballer and he should play where he best suits the team, and I have believed for as long as he's been in the team that his best position for North Melbourne is in the midfield. So
yeah, but of course he's going to say he feels at home there because he's towing the party line. He's not going to step out of line. No one at North Melbourne seems to step out of line by saying, oh no, Brad's got it wrong, or I'd rather play X, Y, and Z. I mean, you might hear a Lindsay, a Thomas, or maybe someone else say that, but I think with Sean or Humphrey Bear or whatever you want to call him, that he's going to, you put him at fullback, centre halfback, whatever, he's going to say, oh yeah, I feel most comfortable there. I just don't think he's going to be. Oh. Yep.
Well, yeah. How often do you hear a player? I can think of Michael.
Yeah, but I went to a pretty
I'm not a forward. I want to play back.
Last
I can't think of anybody else that said,
trialled in the midfield.
No, I want to play here. They're all saying the club's playing me here, so that's where I play.
Midfield / halfback, and he spoke and said he'd rather just play halfback. That's clearly his position. I think it's been said.
I've asked him plenty of times as well about being in the midfield, but I got the same response.
He wants to be
not expecting anything different,
but he's not doing enough to be just a halfback. So exactly. I mean, a few years ago, he was providing the run and gun and all of that when we had our crazy handball sprint game plan, and no one sort of paid attention to him, but everyone's working up to that now, and they know if they shut him down, they shut our run down, etc., etc. We may as well play him in the midfield, where they basically don't have opponents, and his skills can be used there. I know we sort of tried it last year on a wing, it didn't really work, but well, the question wasn't what are the coaches.
Do you see it happening? I mean, week was a good week to do it.
What
it was
I
last week when Port were tearing us apart. It didn't happen then.
The only player other than Atlee that can provide us the run that we need from the centre square is Wells.
Yeah, that's fair call.
He's in and out, off one leg, etc., etc. Harvey never goes in there anymore. He's pretty much a permanent forward. And in 2 years, when those two retire, who's going to do it if it's not Atlee? Well, if we trade Goldstein, it won't matter because we'll never win the centre clearance.
Whoever we trade Wells and Goldstein.
You're done with that one. I just want to actually, while we're on that question, before I lead into the next one about the centre bounce debacle, which you both will crack at, I came across this today, and it's kind of in relation to that. So if you were to change the team, well, this is also to do with that, but also moving forward with next year. Now, I can't figure out if this person's been on the piss, taking the piss, or if this person is genuinely serious. This is a username I've never heard of before, so I'm not going to really dump them in the shit at the moment in case it's an alias. So you guys probably heard in the pre-show who I'm talking about. Anyway, from the back line, Spud, Taz, Swallow, halfbacks, Mackenzie, Mackay, Vickers, Willis, centre, Wells, Dumont, Atley, half forward, Mullet, Door, Black, LT Brown, Jed, followers, Goldie, Zeeble, Cunners, and on the bench, Harvey, Clark, Bruce, and Gibson. Does anyone want to bother responding to that?
My only question, and I'm being generous here, is who's the guy that we traded Scott Thompson for?
Nope.
Because if he's not playing and McKay is, we better have traded him. And who the fuck did we get for him?
And talking about a guy who's, well, doing sweet fuck all in both the development league and the Werribee Seniors. Okay, yeah, he's coming back from all sorts of issues and he's still young and raw and all the rest of it, but fuck me. Centre half back, yeah, I don't think so. And especially when you throw in Vickers Willis. But I think the funny part was Swallow to full back, or back pocket. But Mullet at half forward?
Yeah, that's been floated before. That's one of the less crazy things. He can kick a goal, I don't mind that.
Yeah,
we all do.
Well, the other side was then...
I honestly wouldn't mind Mullet at half forward.
Now,
I love
Mullet,
seeing him
Black,
running
Swallow down back,
goals
because
for
Willis
the
and Mackay
50-metre
in the back line. What the fuck?
Hang on, did you say Black?
Yeah, Mullet, Door, Black in the half forward line.
As in Aaron Black? As in
Aaron
the guy
Evans,
that is
Black,
almost
yes.
guaranteed to not be on our list in 12 months' time.
The one who was linked with Fremantle, allegedly, last year. Yeah.
Aaron Black.
So if you've got...
That's why I had to reiterate with Vickers, Willis and Mackay and with Swallow down in the back pocket, Mullet at half forward, Door in the side.
I'm okay with that. So you've got Door. Presumably Waite. Is Waite in the team?
No, he's not in that team.
No Higgins. So we're trading Waite. I know Waite's going to retire, presumably. We're trading Higgins and Scott Thompson for nothing.
Nope.
And we're playing Aaron Black for some
There's
reason.
no Higgins
Is Wood in the
either.
team? Right, so we're keeping Black because Wood's gone to Sydney, and we're taking for a number 1 draft pick. Okay, I'm good with that. Let's go number 1 draft pick. Who's good next year?
But he doesn't have a contract, so he's probably long gone.
Seriously, this bench of Harvey, Clark, Bruce, and Gibson. Okay, the only rational...
Hang on, did you say Bruce?
Yeah, I said
So
that the pre-
we're playing Bruce, Door, and Goldstein in one side.
Yeah, and Aaron Black.
Wow, that's like the Triple Towers gone to a new level. Anyway, this is a little off topic and crazy. Let's move on.
No, I just wanted to go into that because I just thought it was fucking hilarious. As soon as I saw Swallow in the back pocket, I was like, okay, you were either having a massive, messy night or, I don't know who this person is, to be honest. Last question from G to G, Gorm to Geyser. Centre bounce debacle, one pace / proppy mids being left for dead once the ball is tapped more than 1 metre away. It's been such an obvious issue, even the footy media has spotted it. Pop quiz hot shot, what do you do? What do you do?
Well, we had to have a plan B, which Brad Scott's never had. We've obviously trained for Goldstein, giving us first use of the ball, every single tap out, and going from there. We've obviously never tried without Goldstein getting us first use of the ball. So as soon as that ball doesn't go to Swallows, Evil, Cunnington, whoever, they run around like a bunch of headless chickens with no idea what to do. It's not going to be fixed this year. Goldstein's obviously injured. I don't see him coming back to full flight at all this year.
The only thing I would add
unfortunately, something we're going to have to put up with, I think. And
it makes absolutely no sense
of Robbie
for Ben
Tarrant
Cunnington to play
handle it.
57% game time or whatever it is while we drop Trent Dumont. If Cunners is not able to play just over half the game, there's no way he's better than a fully fit Trejimont. So either get him fit or drop him until he's fit or whatever. Like, there's no point playing a guy that can't do shit in the centre square when he's basically in the centre square the entire game. So we're going to play our triple towers and Zeeble and Cunnington forward.
Here's another one we can chuck
Going to
forward.
run with no midfield.
He can take a mark. I don't know about his kicking.
And Thomas, I guess, will be the only
take a
problem,
mark.
but he likes to play tall too, so we'll just have 6 marking targets.
So was that you that posted that team? Seriously, that must have been you. Fucking
Yeah.
hell. Anyway. What's the issue with Ben Cunnington? Do you think it's just... Is it... I know you used to ask me the questions when you weren't on the
Crummers and our
podcast
lack
panel,
of crummers.
and you'd make me answer it. So now it's time for you to answer it. What? And it used to drive me nuts. I used to fucking go, roll my eyes. Yeah, okay, another one from Jay-Z. Here we go. No, I'm just kidding. What's his issue? Do you reckon is he playing? Is it injury? Is it something else? What do you genuinely think the problem is there?
I think it's twofold. I think he is hampered, clearly. I don't think you play your number 5 draft pick 50% of game time if he's not injured. He's clearly been hampered at least since the Geelong game, if not before. I also think he's just out of form. I think he's done 2/5 of F-all for the entire season. He's played 1 quarter here, 1 quarter there, even going right back to round 1. And obviously, as you said, from the couple of times that I haven't been on the panel, I've asked questions about him. He's driving me nuts because he's nowhere near the level that he was the last couple of years. And even that, I still have my concerns with, his ability to play top quality football with particularly Swallow in the side. But, the best balance for me in that centre square is 2 of Swallow, Cunnington, Zeeble, and then a Wells type. When we play the 3 inside guys, we look slow. But other than Zeeble, who can go forward, the other 2 can't really do anything else other than play in the centre square. So we're kind of in a bit of a structure issue with those 3, I think.
One thing, actually, I was going to say this before. Thinking back to last year, and you're talking about players who can or can't play elsewhere other than their allocated positions or suggested best positions. Last year against Essendon, one-on-one Cunnington at fullback against Jobe Watson. He took Watson to town. Actually took him to the cleaners for, half a quarter, but was able to do it. I was surprised to see him down there. He could do it, but I don't know how long he could do that for.
That doesn't surprise me at all. Before he had the tank to play midfield, we played him as a back pocket. We taught him to play defensive. But that only works for the odd occasion where, Essendon throw Watson forward, or we happen to be playing Richmond and they throw Martin forward. It's a very rare thing.
Yeah, and it's just to change things up. I mean, that was only for it was no longer than a quarter. I think it might have only been 5 or 10 minutes, but it felt like an eternity just because it was just different. Something, Northland was actually doing something different for a change. So yeah, things can happen, just rarer than hen's teeth, really. Other than that, have you got anything else to add to any of that? No?
Me.
Junior? Okay. Probably going to move into the review, but I would like to skip over it, but I'm not allowed to because K4E says, no, you're not allowed to. Anyway, not a lot really to take out of that apart from a really, really humiliating loss to pretty pathetic Port Adelaide side in Melbourne. I'm not sure about, I remember the last time I ever saw that happening, but Quiv, what can you give me that, what can you give me that's, what can you give me today about that game? I know we both watched it and stormed out at some point.
I don't know about watched it. I was there. My eyes were open. I don't know what they were looking at. They were staring off into space. Look, we were exposed for our pace. They tore us apart with their run, and we just couldn't do anything about it. The only good thing I think I came out with from that day was watching Charlie Dixon try to chase Tarrant in that last quarter, I think it was, when he had the leg injury or whatever it was, and he was hoppling along. I thought that was hilarious. That was my day.
Going for the 3-2 and 1 worst on
absolutely just it's the worst football I've seen in a long time from our team, and I've got nothing nothing good to say about anyone except for
It's
probably
fish in a barrel
Tarrant,
sort of
really.
stuff. It's just at random. Really, that is. Keep going.
Even then, it's hard to pick which one deserves it more than the other.
It's got.
It was just
Yeah, it was
horrible.
pretty
Attlee,
horrendous.
McKenzie,
And then
Wells,
sort of
Goldie, Swallow,
I went off
Mullet,
a couple of
Drew,
burgers. I came back with 3 burgers and
Gibson,
ended up eating 2.5
Wells,
myself. No
or
one
did I
else
say
wanted
Wells?
the other
Might have said
burger. I
Wells.
was like, what the fuck do I do with this? I
Everybody
just left it and
was
stormed out.
just down.
I was eating myself
Nobody
into
rocked up to
stupidity,
play that
drinking
day.
myself stupid. I couldn't watch that garbage. And, yeah.
Yeah.
It just sucks because it's game. I don't think anybody would have thought we could lose.
It's funny you say that.
Maybe that was the problem. We went in there expecting to win and just
getting ahead
expected
of
it to happen.
themselves and
I don't know. I can't speak for the players. I can speak as an angry fan.
If that was the case, and they were thinking that, why did they play
The game
like
pissed me off, to be
worst
pretty honest. It
school
was
first
just
18 football
infuriating.
team? Why was there no skill execution? Why were, I was about to say structures out the window, but there was just, it seriously was that bad that they must have, if they were playing with that idea or that agenda, they must have just thought that second-rate schoolboy football will get them across the line against Port Adelaide, and that's just wrong.
I think, from the get-go, you could tell it was going to be a pretty bad day. I guess starting from that decision on Spud, I don't get that at all. Nobody does, and it kind of just went downhill from there. You know, as I said, they ran through us. They just tore us apart with their
Jose, did you
running,
see much of this
and
game? Or
their pressure was just incredible. It was Fremantle 2014, 15 like there. We got the ball and we had no space to do anything with it. We were getting crunched
I
instantly.
think that really comes down to
There's
work
just
rate.
nothing
I mean,
we could do.
we've been that high pressure side early in the season when we were flying, and it's just disappeared. And you can say it's injuries or whatever, but the 22 that play have to play 100%, and they haven't been for some reason. Whether it's cockiness or they thought someone else would do it or whatever it is, no one really knows. But that was a game we just had to win. It really was. I mean, I said 2 weeks ago when I was last on this podcast that the West Coast game was a season-defining 8-point game, etc., picky cliche, and we lost that, and we just had to win the Port game, the Collingwood game, the St Kilda game. They were non-negotiables, and we've already dropped one, and who knows what's going to happen the next 2 weeks. So they've got to find something because
they haven't made the most of it, and going forward, every game is a crunch game. I know I said it earlier in this year, and I said pretty much all of last year that it treated every game like it's final, especially now considering the predicament that North Melbourne is in. And even when you get to the point of the very last round against GWS is going to be an extremely dangerous match, in my opinion. With the way that even St Kilda have been sort of even up and down, even that's sort of looking forward to next week, I would even say that could be a danger game. But, I don't know, yeah, it is, and we don't lose milestones. We'll get into that.
That's my great white hope for this week. Is equaling the record. There's no possible way we lose a milestone. Exactly.
It's a boomer milestone game.
From here on, he breaks the record every week.
One.
Mind you, he's been breaking the North Melbourne Games record every week.
We're going to go undefeated for the rest of the year.
Somehow we finish second or third, win every game off the back of record breaker after record breaker. Get into the grand final.
He's going to add to the record, and he's going to add to the record.
We're going that way.
It's all milestones from here on.
We won't get ahead of ourselves. Just to go back to what I was saying, I know I was probably a little bit harsh on North Melbourne saying that it was a pathetic game and second 18 sort of stuff. At times it was. I will say that at times it was actually really good being played, and there was a good amount of effort sort of later in the game, but I think it was just that start, getting off to a really sluggish, really slow, deer in headlights type start. It was just one-way running to begin with. I don't think that the players worked hard enough after being beat to chase back and go, oh, well, it was more a case of, I've been beaten, not so much I don't care, but I'm not going to, someone else will do it. That type of attitude is what it appeared to be. I'm sure it wasn't like that in their heads, but that's somehow the the answer I came across in my little brain. But if there's nothing else from either of you two, I think I want to jump into the game against the Toothless Yobbos from Victoria Park, playing against old mate Levi Greenbucks. And who have we got? Oh, he loves that. So the ins for them, well, it says no change. Bullshit. Alex Asolo, Marley Williams, although out, McCaffer and Jordan DeGoey. Oh, why? What's that? You don't. But then they say in strangest thing. Oh, they're full of crap. Anyway, ins and outs for us, even though it says no change. Oh, whatever.
Yeah, I don't get that.
Lamont and Dor in out.
Yeah, I don't get how
Jared
they say
Watkins,
no change.
Corey Wagner omitted.
But in saying that, they also say the website was
I
up
just
there
want to start
at
off.
8:28 this morning.
If anyone wants to
So
nominate
I
anyone
don't know how
for
they added the team then, but
Spud
whatever.
Kerridge or the Kerridge Spud Shield, go for your life, because I'm just looking through the list, and as Quiv said in the pre-show, every line would have a very good candidate by the looks of the Collingwood team. Quiv, have you got any, or JC? Because I was actually going to nominate DeGoey, and then I was also going to nominate, what's his name? Fuck, little Adam Oxley, but I don't think he's playing actually. Anyway, no, he's not. That's a shame. He would have been a Monty for that. Little boy Jared Blair. Yes.
Yeah, Blair's a high chance.
No, it's not.
JC.
My nomination is Greenwood, first of all, because he's rubbish. And,
Well, the guy that drew my eyes straight away was Ben
and
Sinclair.
I'm
Like,
sure he will
baffled how he
prove me
plays.
wrong
And the
tear
other
up
one was
and
Josh
tag
Smith.
Zeeble
No
in the
idea who
game
he
and
is.
get 40
He's a
possessions and
Monty
kick
for
the
me as
ball
well.
to fellow players or something or other. And the other slightly masochistic one is Travis Cloak, who has done 2/5 of F-all for the entire season. But I just have this bad feeling that we're going to be that team that plays him back into form, and I really hope not. And let's hope Robbie destroys him. No, that's true. He might have to bring a special boot onto the field so he can actually learn how to kick straight.
He'd still miss. Fucking genuinely. Anyway.
But at least score
Well,
a
he doesn't
point.
have
It
the
would
advantage of his
improve him
glove
from,
this
you
week.
know, out in the fall to
So
actually
hopefully that
scoring a
helps with
point.
Fuck. I was just trying to actually, which reminds me of something you were saying in the pre-show about something to do with.
It comes out with a 4
was it
foot
out
wide boot.
Darcy in more Cox or something like that? And I was like, what the fuck are you talking? What were you saying pre?
Let's just say that the Collingwood emergencies this week are DeGoey, the Sack, and the Cox. And we'll leave it at that.
Come on, go on with it. You know, no, it's all right.
That was a verbal
Family
typo.
friendly,
I was meant to say,
I haven't been on for
yeah,
a month.
it ended up being
so
more Cox
let's
in,
just change
so
that up for a bit.
we'll just leave it at that.
One of you mentioned earlier about Greenwood and who or where he would kick it to. And you were saying that he would. What did you say? It was he would kick it to a North Melbourne player for a key matchups this week. I don't really need to run. Well, I mentioned that. Okay, well,
Yeah,
the other thing I will mention is
I missed last year's Collingwood game, so I haven't actually seen him in the black and white against us, and I just said it'd be good to see him finally kick to a North
also
player.
actually threw in the name Hansen.
Hopefully help us in our way of winning.
Yeah, you got some all sorts of funny looks from Rob about that. I'm sort of right in 2/3 of that.
First of all,
They're both
have we
emergencies list at the moment.
gone through our ins and outs?
As for a late change, well, as Quiv was saying pre-show, if Petrie is playing, then, well, there ain't going to be changes. Considering that Vickers Willis, Tippett and Wagner are there, my tip is V-Dub to come in. I don't know why, I'm just going to run with that just because I think he's a bloody good player. Other than that, I just think as the list is stated at the moment, I think it will change just a little bit. Anyway, Jay-Z, do you want to go through some key matchups, please? Or not?
Sure.
Yeah, have you not got the list in front of you?
Yeah. 2 points for obviousness.
Well, we can start with the obvious one of Tarrant needs to stop Cloak. Another obvious one is obviously the ruck battle. Goldie versus Grundy. Grundy's got the potential to be a very good player, but at the moment he's very shit. And Goldstein at the moment is a very good player, but at the moment he's very shit. So hopefully Goldie can work his way through whatever pain he's going through and tear Brody a new one so our midfield can get some scores in the ball.
Actually, legitimately, the player is
another key matchup.
Here's the key one for me. Obviously, we don't have a Jacobs.
I honestly haven't seen much Collingwood this week, this year.
I'm hoping maybe a Cunnington can go to him and shut him down because God knows Cunnington can't do anything else for himself at the moment. And then sort of rely on Swallow and Zeeble to get the ball out to your Wells, Clarks, Dos Santos, etc. I feel like I say this every week on the podcast, but the midfield is key. I feel like our forwards and their backs and vice versa are probably fairly evenly matched up. Without Waite, if Waite was in, I think he would be a fair key for us. But obviously he's not. Hopefully with Dor in, we win the ruck battle. I don't rate Brody Grundy at all. Obviously Goldie is injured / playing sore, but hopefully between him and Dor, we can actually get an advantage in the ruck. Obviously, when Ben Brown's gone to the ruck, he does nothing, and he's our best forward at the moment. So, yeah, but he's about our 22nd best ruckman and our best forward. So I'd much rather Dor be in and rucking and then Ben Brown play permanent forward. The difference is that Cox actually got the free kick. So
Ben Brown boxed around pretty good. That was good. Wacky waving.
It feels like a lot more.
Dare I say, he does a very good Dean Cox impersonation just without getting the free kicks.
There you go. Feels like it's been around for a while. But
to me, it feels like he's been around a little bit longer. But
2.5 years.
And speaking of Ben Brown, actually, just congratulations on his 50th game.
I was going to say,
some good, some great, some bad, but 50 games, good on him.
Who would spend some time on young AT? Any chance of Trent Dumont getting a bit of time?
I thought shit is at 50 already. So.
Actually, I wouldn't mind that at all.
Yeah.
Dumont showed himself to be a good tackler. I think he's got good application. I was absolutely shocked that he was dropped last week, especially in front of Wagner, who's obviously come in for this week. Dumont to Trawler, I think, would be a good matchup and a good learning experience for Trent.
Cool. Another nomination I've just seen come through on the North Melbourne board, and it's for the carriage, is Braden Maynard. Does anyone have any opinions on that? Or is it... Yeah, you would say that.
All I know is that he's been tearing it up in Dream Team and it's not my team, so I don't like him. But other than that, I have no idea who that is.
Travis Varco is still playing. Is it 3 seasons too long? Or is he still providing?
Yeah, who? Three seasons too long. I think he had a pretty good game a couple of weeks ago, I think, or maybe even last week.
Well, then again,
it was the GWS game, actually.
North, but
so, he's still got the potential to be a game winner,
etc. than we are.
Those games are few and far between, but I think in this Collingwood side, where they are reasonably young,
that you wouldn't have
Marco there. I mean, I wouldn't have him in North.
Was the last year or so about Operation Get Corporate Apparel, Adam Treloar, and then there was Get James H and all these. And then, of course, the same people turn around and say, "Oh, we were lucky. We got away with there. We got out of jail and all this sort of stuff with not getting those two."
Yeah, I was about to say that they're two different stories. We dodged a massive bullet with Aish. Treloar is a gun, absolute gun. He's walked into a midfield. Admittedly, Swan's been out, but he's walked into a midfield with the likes of Pendlebury, etc., and been far and away their best player. He's a gun.
We're lucky to miss Aish, without a doubt, but Treloar...
So you have AT at North in a heartbeat?
Treloar I would have given my left nutsack for. My left nut.
Who would he replace? I know this is a weird question off topic.
Anyone other than Zeeble.
That's a bit like Quiv about 2 months ago saying Sean Atley is off limits, but you can have
He's
anyone.
well on their way to winning their BNF.
If you've got to pick someone,
Zeeble at the moment is our best midfielder. Treloar would be number 2, if not number 1. Probably number 1, if I'm being honest, but I'm biased. But legitimately, I would give Cunnington for Treloar in a heartbeat, and that's controversial on our board because everyone loves Cunnington. But Treloar's 5 times the player Cunnington is at the moment.
Yeah, but people last year were...
I'm open to Atley being traded.
Included, maybe me.
Without a doubt.
We're willing to give up Jack Zeeble but keep Ben Cunnington, and now the tables have turned with Ben 10 not performing too well, being under the weather, whatever else.
He would be number 1.
And then Jack performing pretty much week in, week out. Do we have that conversation again?
My thing with Cunnington is a little bit, and I've said this a number of times, I don't think he plays very well with the other two. Almost all of his best games in the last 3 years have been one of Swallow or Zeeble or has been out, or sometimes both. We're not going to trade Swallow because he's our current captain. We're not going to trade Zeeble because he's going to be our captain in a couple of months. What's your choice?
Yeah. Well, hang on. You're saying that
Swallows
by
out.
deduction that he has to go.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to go.
I'm not saying he has to go at all because I think that's an overreaction. But I'm saying if I had to give up one of the 3 to get, a Treloar type, and it's not necessarily a Treloar because I'd rather own
You're right.
a gun outside, more outside player. Cunnington would be the one. I think Swallow, for all that is, degraded on our board, he is critical defensive because a lot of our midfield is a little bit one way. Zeeble's clearly been our best midfielder this year and is about to be our captain. Cunnington is 3rd for me.
Fair enough. What about Aaron Black in a second rounder, or is that just not good enough?
Yep.
Can we still trade Liam Anthony?
Yeah. Bring him. Rookie list him to then trade him on. Cool. No worries with that. What do you make of young Corey just finally being given the boot? Is it a lot would say that he was given probably a game too many, but I think my own personal opinion before you both jump in is that he probably needed a few consistent games back to back rather than just having the one game and then going back to the VFL. What's the take from both of you on Corey being omitted this week or managed or whatever?
I think it's fair. I agree with you. I hate nothing more than his coming in for one game then being dropped the next. You can't get any consistency with that. He's had enough to get a taste of it.
Apparently the club
honestly, he didn't show much. And that's fair enough. It's his first real crack at it. I'm fine with that. He'll come back probably next year and he'll be fine. Part of me also wonders, is it part of a punishment for what happened the other week? But yeah, about some certain images on the internet.
Well, the irony is that he's the one.
It happens, but
there have been a number of players who have been consistently
sponsors and stuff like that. They all have far too much say in how a club runs. So that's got to be in the back of the mind. Is that part of the reason he's omitted, or is it purely just because they've given him his taste? Now they know what he needs to touch up on, and they've sent him back to the twos to do that. I think it comes down to the last one in, first one out type thing. You're not going to see the likes of Del Santo, who's probably my biggest one to be dropped. You're not going to see somebody like him drop and
in for one game and then out
Eby and Wagner
10,
stay
and then
in the form that both of them had.
And that was it.
We all know Del Santo's got the potential to turn it on and win games and
he's a little bit lucky.
Be that classy outside midfielder we all want and need. Wagner, we don't know that yet. I think he deserves it. He does torch the ball a bit, but he's also a very good kicker as well. I think he's one of the ones that needs to be left in the team, and
what we're missing.
We just got to put up with it for a little bit longer just to see if he can turn it around and get his efficiency up, get more of the ball. I mean,
not hater, but
he had a few shit
not
kick-outs,
rated
I think
him
it was
at all
last
in
week.
previous years. But I agree that he
He's a
deserves
pretty
a spot
lethal
at the
foot,
moment.
and I love nothing more
I
than
agree
seeing
with
him with the
most of
ball
what you said on
kicking in after
Wagner
a
as
point.
well. Other than the punishment thing, I don't think it has anything to do with that. I was frankly surprised to see him in and Dumont out last week, and I think the club's just fixing that mistake by reversing it this week.
Do you think that's sort of them owning up to a mistake, or
They would never do that, but
no, well, not directly anyway.
But yeah, Dumont
Yeah.
at the moment is more valuable to our team than Wagner, especially with Jed back, and whether you agree with Jed coming back or not in the form that is in is sort of by the by, but with him coming back, we're much better off having Dumont in the team than Wagner, in my opinion.
They're like umpires. I think they just realise Demont should have been in.
Well, on the subject of tackles, actually, Rob informs me that we had 40-odd tackles for the game, which must be an all-time record low.
Yeah, and I wish I mentioned the
old
review of last week
turnstile
with Demont's tackling pressure. The amount of tackles that Port just ran through last week.
Tackles were at a
Demont
premium.
would have been the bloody great
there
player
was
to have on the field.
Attempt from that. It would be good to see the stats on that, although if there is one. And if Demont would have actually
I'd love to know how many were missed or just shrugged off, because the amount of players I saw just being flung off was incredible.
I mean, that's in the past now, that Port Adelaide game, and as Brad will say, that's an aberration. That's the past. You can't go back and fix that, so whatever. Going back to something I was saying before, with Brad McKenzie, I will say that I'm really happy to see them getting some game time, and he's not going to be chopped and changed. And I know I've been calling for him at times to be probably dropped and a few other things, but considering all the form he put in late last season in the VFL and sometimes this year, it's good to see him in, albeit through an extended injury list, I'm sure. But he's making the most of it and probably pumping up his contract. I don't even know what the deal is. I'm sure he's on contract at the end of this year. Hope he stays, actually. There's a number of other players I'd move on before him. And previously, I wouldn't have said that. But then again, I said last year to someone at a training, watch this, in 2016, Will Fordham for the Rising Star. Now, fair way off that, and I'm also someone that said, fucking Aidan Kennedy is the next best thing. Which, okay, I've got a few things wrong. But
you
anyway,
weren't alone there, to be fair.
Oh, the Aidan Kennedy one. I was alone on the Will Fordham one.
90% of the board thought that he was going to get drafted by Hawthorn and go on to be the next best thing, but every other club just went, yeah, nah. Which, yeah. Anyway.
And it's true.
Let's not rehash the child history.
Yeah, no point. Any final thoughts on this game? Anything at all? Your single change of pass. You must have been one of only 2 people in the draw for that.
We'll say I finally won my tickets to the change rooms.
From what I hear from the North Melbourne board,
prepared to be disappointed, but I'm happy to finally win them.
Been shit out, and apparently they're taking the piss with the North.
Yeah, I find it a bit weird. There's a single change room pass. That's a bit odd.
And treating them like absolute garbage.
A lot of the stuff the club's doing these days in terms of events for the supporters have been pretty lackluster, so I don't really expect much.
Responded to or anything, but
yeah.
I certainly haven't heard.
If you want to be blunt about it, yeah.
But apart from all the negative feedback, actually, no, I haven't heard any positive feedback at all. Yeah, well, I mean, that's sort of away from the game, but that's sort of club stuff. Jay-Z, any sort of final thoughts or how you think the game might pan out, please?
The only final thought, and trying to turn this into a little bit more of a positive discussion, is obviously just reiterating.
Yeah, particularly in that event from last week, I haven't heard
we've been waiting for a long time. Yeah, very special night for our football club. It was a record that many thought would never be beaten, and let's hope the boys actually show up and give him the win that he deserves, because this is a phenomenal achievement.
Well, I'll just give you the final comments quiz before I sign off. What, North by anything at all? Do you think North will win?
I'm sure we will. I'm sure.
Are you attending? Oh, well, I'm sure you can palm off to someone. Anyway, I think that'll be all from
I have nothing
us
further
tonight.
to add.
Big congrats to Ben Brown playing his 50th game. The inclusions, hopefully.
I believe North will win.
No injuries, no sickness.
I'm not too worried about this game, but saying that I wasn't worried about last week
Boomer
either.
Harvey on, what did you say, 426?
Yeah, I'll be there. I wasn't going to, but I won these tickets, so I'll be
Saturday
there.
night. The one thing I will need to really push on is the club in years and over the decades has been through some pretty tough times, and a lot of the members and the supporters have stuck fat and have really stuck around. Whereas a lot of supporters from other clubs have deserted them or just gone, I'm not going to attend this week because, we're having a down period, we're losing, we're doing that. It's times like these when the supporters shop and I know it is hard and just show the faith and really attend. I know it's a Collingwood home game, but I don't see any reason why people shouldn't be showing up, unless, of course, it's financial. But, I suppose that's probably all from me, and thanks for listening to the Stern Look this week.
Well said.